Let me just take a sip of my coffee here. And what's up? What's up, you filthy weeaboos? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all in good health, except for Hero. I mean, not to say that I don't hope that you find your way back to good health, but you know what I mean. How are we all doing? What's going on? Man, I've been sitting here for the last, like, 4 or 5 minutes just staring at the iCam for Rak'tika Greatwoods, and, like, oh, it's just, this zone is so beautiful. I can just stare at this all day. Man, it's so, so good. Alright, well, let's turn the BGM on. So, to fill you guys in, we went and did the solo instance in the Ravel, around the entrance to the Ravel, the Great Pyramid of Uxner, while we were trying to find the way through to Rak'tika Falls. We were doing the whole Indiana Jones thing, and then we were waylaid by Ranji. Y'shtola jumped into a hole to save an antidote, and then Urianger and Thancred slam dunked Ranjit into said hole after her, and Emet-Selch here was good enough to drag her back out of the live stream and give her some clothes. Oh shit, it's Ranjit. Hell yeah. I love Ranjit. Man, I wish we had like a little bit more from him. As I was saying last time, I think it's like the reason Ranjit is so two-dimensional villain was like a bit of a pacing issue. That the Shadowbringers story was already like very long and very dense and had a lot of threads and a lot of characters, and there just wasn't room enough to really like give him much of an arc and allow him to really kind of grow much. The background is all sort of implicit with Ranjit, like the fact that he's old, very old, and has subsequently had to basically father and train and, you know, lead to their deaths about half a dozen Minfilias. And that seems to be like the main source of his cynicism, you know? Like, it's hard to tell what sort of motivates him. And like the other Yulmorans, you know, living in their debauchery and Vothri being what he is makes sense, but like, why is Ranjit along for the ride? And it seems that he's just so jaded after watching generation after generation of what he basically considers his children to die in the service of a lost cause. And I mean, in so many ways, he kind of just serves as a prop for Thancred and Minfilia's character arcs. But I still think it's really interesting. Yeah, I still think it's really, really interesting. And all the stuff about Gukumat's and Haruka, his father's familiar, and like what's going on with that. I don't know. Maybe we'll find more answers about that whole thing in future. I hope so. New fan from Melbourne for the game. Oh, well, welcome, Alzen. Welcome. There might be some spoilers here, so I hope that doesn't bother you too much, but welcome to Final Fantasy XIV, my friend. Another Australian player. Oh, as another Australian player, hang on, let me drop this command in chat for you. You should very strongly consider joining the semi-official Final Fantasy XIV ANZ Facebook group. We do a lot of like community meetups and like a lot of sponsored giveaways. We work very closely with the dev team on organizing stuff for the Australia-New Zealand region, and we do stuff in Melbourne quite often. Did I buy it from Steam? No, I didn't. I did not buy 14 from Steam. I bought it from the Square Enix store. If you buy it from Steam, you have to buy all subsequent expansions from Steam. And vice versa, if you buy like the Windows version, the non-Steam Windows version, you're kind of restricted to that version as well. Now, of course, it's cross-platform between like all platforms. All platforms being, you know, PS4 and PC, both Steam and non-Steam versions. But it's coming to Xbox One soon as well. They're releasing an Xbox One version of 14, which is pretty exciting. Pretty cool. How do you pay the sub from Steam? Can anyone answer that for Alzen? Anyone that has the Steam version? How do you pay the sub from Steam? Because that's not something I think I can really answer. I don't know. I actually don't know. You can feel the ether flowing through the door. A gentle push may be all that's required. Well, that's awfully convenient, isn't it? Our early efforts were not in vain, it seems. Stand your guard, Ethys. We know not what awaits us inside. Alright. Now, as this is the first time we're running this dungeon on this character, we are going to be taking our trusts again for that extra bit of flavor. Even though it makes the dungeon take twice as long. Let me think. I think we gotta take Y'shtola for this one. Y'shtola has a lot of insight. So we'll take Y'shtola, my boy, Swally Armjay, and Dadgrid. Let's do it. How about some small talk, Rianjay? When Thangrid and I spoke with Coril, she described unto us the form of our quarry, just as her mother had once done unto her. It is a feathered beast possessed of 3 heads, both simian and canine in nature, an abomination amongst abominations. When Alpha knew to paint the picture sketched by the lady's words, the result would surely turn the blood to ice. I kind of haven't really been putting my money where my mouth is for this playthrough, but when you have NPCs like this that are in particular places for particular quests, you should always talk to them and always check out their dialogue. The only reason I haven't been doing it for this playthrough is because we're on a bit of a time limit. And I've been trying to like get through it. I've been trying to expedite it as much as possible. I'm sorry about that, but I would definitely encourage all of you guys to do so whenever you can. Alright, let's form the party. And that's exactly what we want, actually. That is perfect. We'll register for the duty. You have Steam version but still pay through the Monk Station? Okay, so I guess you can do that. That's interesting. Yeah, we're recording this for the Yub Tubs. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I don't want it to end up being like 100 parts. But also, I do want to get up to 5.2 on this character before we hit 5.2, which is in like exactly 1 week. Where are the twins at this point? They're at the Crystarium. They did not come to Rak'tika with us. They're looking into where we might find the other Light Warden and or Light Wardens. They're kind of doing that research while we get the job done here. So particularly because we think Amarang and Kaluja and the twins are respectively, you know, I wouldn't say experts, but they know more about those zones than any of the other Scions. So they're getting amongst that. Oh man, the music in here is so good. So, I don't know if this guy does it, but the S rank You dumb Scions. The S rank in Rak'tika is another one of these Rohnke liches, and it casts Tartarian spells, which is obviously in reference to Tartarus. Oh, I should probably dance partner Y'shtola as well, eh? But there's like Tartarian Earthquake, Tartarian... there's a few of them. But we look at that, and then we look at Galg, and Galg's knowledge or development of this weapon, Tartarus, and Noah van Gabranth getting his hands on it, and presumably that coming into play in 5.25. And kind of wondering like where the thread is that sort of stitches that together, you know? Because it can't be incidental. These references, these threads when we see them in the lore are never, they're never a mistake. They're never a coincidence. Nice that I can use my saber dance now. I gotta keep an eye on that. The Seeker of Mana callback? Where's the Seeker of Mana callback in this? In the music, you saying? Then just see how Ivalice stuff mixes with the whole Ivalice series. Oh, mixes with the MSQ, especially after that Gabranth Stinger post or bomb. Well, I'm not convinced it is going to be mixing in with the MSQ. But it is going to be mixing into the Bozja content, the Blades of Gunhildr, which is what the Relic questline is for Shadowbringers. Because, yeah, that's happening in Bozja. We see Mikoto, the Sharlayan scholar that features prominently in the Ivalice quest series. We see her in that. Noah is the legatus of the 4th Legion, is in control of Bozja. So it's got a tie in there as well. We're joining like the Resistance in Bozja, and I would not be at all surprised if we don't see some cameos from the Dalmascan Resistance. Perhaps even from Fran, which would be just so awesome. God, that would be so cool. Hell, maybe even Barthier, right? Like, we know from interviews that Barthier was going to be in Return to Ivalice, but they decided there like wasn't really like enough space to fit his character in. That was going to end up being a bit kind of like forced and, you know, even more kind of hectic and dense than Return to Ivalice already was. Oh, it's a reference to Tataru, not Tartarus. Oh. You think Tataru is Tartarus? You think that's her real name? That's probably it, right? That's gotta be it. They showed the chat with the Empire traveling through Arcadia. What made you think start of the Relic is going to be MSQ? Interesting. I mean, I hope so. I do hope that it like branches off the MSQ. That would be very, very cool. And I hope that it does kind of tie in a bit more closely in general to the MSQ. Since we know, well, I mean, Sid being involved doesn't really necessarily mean it's going to tie in with the MSQ. There's been a lot of content that really, like, doesn't tie in that closely. Although, then again, you know, Alexander and Omega both tie into the MSQ. The former, not really so much outside of twinning, but the latter in like quite a few places. And Crystal Tower, obviously. Yeah, like Arbret and Ardbert. Yeah. I see, I don't understand that at all. Why would he use a fake name if he's just gonna take one letter out? Like, we were told that they were using fake names to kind of fit in and sound more Eorzean, not sound so foreign. But with him, it's the same fucking name, you know? It's the same heckin' name, innit? Oh, that was quite funny. Alright, then we want to do one of these ones and one of those ones. And away we go. Really hard for me to multitask while I'm playing Dancer. I quite enjoy like proc-based classes and sort of like farming for procs and spending them in this big burst. Oh my god, see what I mean? It's like satisfying, but it's really distracting. It makes you spend more time looking at your bars than actually looking at the fight. You know what I mean? And as a result, like, I could never raid on this class. That's the one thing I love about Dragoon, and I love about raiding on Dragoon, is that I basically don't have to look at my bars at all. Dragoon, the only RNG is in your crits and your directs. Like, everything else is perfectly predictable. Your rotation is difficult, and there's a lot of like min-maxing and optimizing to do with Dragoon, like in regards to the fight. But once you've done it, it's done, you know? Once you've worked out like the best placement for your cooldowns and how to ensure maximum uptime and stuff in a raid fight with Dragoon, it's exactly the same, like every single pull, like clockwork. And I love that. It's so satisfying to me. Whereas with like an RNG dependent job, it's different. It's different every pull. And I get why that can be like exciting and engaging for some people, like keeps you on your toes or whatever, but for me, it's just like, it's distracting. It's fun and casual content, but otherwise it's just distracting. I found the same thing with Astro when I was playing a little bit of Astro back in Heaven's Ward. And Machinist as well. Bard as well, though not to the same degree. Although all those jobs I've named are jobs that I've like barely played in Stormblood, so I'm under the impression that Machinist is a little less RNG dependent now. I mean, the changes for Machinist with Shadowbringers were very dramatic. Like, it's a totally different job now, isn't it? It's so cool if we explore some dungeons that we can in the Copied Factory. I really wish you could do that with every dungeon. I wish you could just queue up like empty instances of every dungeon that you've cleared before. Like every dungeon, every instant, every raid, just go and explore them. I mean, what you can do and what I do tend to do for footage, for like lore tours and stuff like that is, once I've cleared, I will just like wander back through them. Because you have like 5 minutes after you've cleared the instance. You just return back to the beginning and sort of wander through. I did it a hell of a lot in this dungeon, I'll tell you that, like first time I cleared it. So I could go back and take screenshots of all like the cave paintings and everything else. How do you say Is that a bot or a rhyme? That's a fun game to play. You go to Limsa Laminsa, right? And you just look at nameplates in chat and you try to guess whether it's someone role-playing a sea wolf or someone botting. Just from the name alone. It's a good game. There are 5 proc jobs now, Dancer Bard, Red Mage. I wouldn't... Yeah, Red Mage's like kinda, but not... I don't know. Red Mage has procs. I would not consider Red Mage a proc job. To a slightly lesser extent, Monk and Black Mage. I wouldn't say Monk either. And I don't know about Black Mage. I don't know Black Mage well enough to kind of make a call on that one. Oh, I did that in the wrong order. That's fine, whatever. Saber Dance is AoE, isn't it? Yeah. Red Mage procs a party in natural rotation. Yes. Yeah. And it's not, like, I wouldn't call Red Mage a proc-based job because it's not, like... Maybe it's just because I'm more familiar with Red Mage, but it's not, like, the point where you need to be staring at your hotbars. Red Mage for me is a lot of fun, but I do definitely think it is, like, stand out easily the simplest job in the game, the easiest job to play in the game. Monk has Chakra, Black Mage, and they Fire and Thunder procs. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Lily. Thank you so much for that 19-month sub streak. Holy crap. How you doing? How are you? How's the family? Nighttime have not yet come. I am glad to hear it, my friends. Are you excited for FanFest? Is the FanFest gonna be another family outing? Because if so, I'm very excited to see you all. You already booked your hotel? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, man. You really are. Like, guys, Lily is the fucking best mum in the world. This is a family that plays 14 together and, like, discusses it around the dinner table. Has their own, like, family FC. Goes to FanFest as a family. Man. Oh, I'm so... I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love my mum, but holy shit, I would love her so much more if she played 14. Mum, if you're watching, I can swing you a sub. I can make some calls and probably get you like a free sub. Just saying. You and I both know you've got nothing better to do. No, I'm not gonna. Oh, we're gonna get in trouble. You know, I know that some of my family watch the stream. I know that a couple of my little cousins occasionally watch the stream. I know that my sister-in-law occasionally watches me in the background while she's doing work stuff. I know that Mum, when I haven't called her in a while, will just like, you know, drop in. But I never know. And I'm kind of glad that I have that, like, you know, that, what do you call it? reasonable deniability, I think is the term I'm looking for. Because I know, like, Spofy, for instance, Spofy's mum watches her stream all the time and is, like, really active in chat. And that would, like, throw me off so much. For the longest time, I refused to let any of my family, like, even know what my Twitch name was. Just because I was like, they're gonna hear things they don't want to hear. I'm at the point now where I don't care anymore, but it's still like... I'll still have family members occasionally saying, oh yeah, I was watching your stream the other day, and I'm like trying to work out in my head like when it was, what time it would have been, like what I was talking about, whether I need to apologize, whether I need to be embarrassed. Plausible deniability, that's the... thank you. Hey Aqua, thank you so much for 35 months, dude. Holy shit. How are you, my friend? I miss you, buddy. I miss you. You better be coming to FanFest, you son of a bitch. It's like the only time I get to hang out with you now. Been playing Persona 5 recently. That makes the kids happy. Oh yeah? Man, your kids really are a couple of weebs. You've raised a couple of filthy little weeaboos. And I just hope that you guys all understand how emotionally crippled they're going to be as a result. Oh, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, Lily. I just hope you realize like how far you've set them back. Oh, jeez. San Diego, huh? Like, how are you gonna get there? I'm over here thinking like, it's funny, like, flights from here, even though San Diego's what, like a 4-hour drive from LA, flights from here to LA are so much cheaper than they are from here to San Diego. So I'm over here thinking like maybe I'll hire a car. Either that or find someone who's driving from LA to carpool with. But I thought it might be a good idea to, just like a good excuse to take like a road trip for a couple of days, you know? I know it's not going to take me a couple of days to drive from LA to San Diego, but I meant, you know, in like a roundabout way, taking a couple of stops here and there. Oh, shit. I'm going to pay attention here. Stoll, are you wearing gloves to begin with? It's like you've got things around your wrist, and there's like a glove that covers one finger on each hand. I don't know if that really counts. Or maybe it's just like a statement of facts. Like, she's not saying the gloves are off like now in particular. The gloves already wear off and they continue to be off, and she just like wants to remind her foe that she's not wearing any gloves and that it's like it's serious business, you know? That's probably it. Road trip AORs, yeah, hell yeah. What I would really love to do, so we had this idea for PAX Australia, right, that did not end up coming to fruition, but that the Final Fantasy XIV ANZ community would budget in for a like a bus, or at least a what do you call it, like a minibus, and that we would basically like drive down the east coast of Australia, just kind of like picking up people along the way who were trying to get down to Melbourne for PAX. People from the community, not just, you know, randos. But like, wouldn't that be so much fun as well? Start in like Seattle or something and just like drive down the west coast in a minibus, just picking people up along the way. That'd be so much fun. So I don't know, we got enough time. Maybe I could even like organize something like that. Hey! Maybe I could get people to, like, you know, buy tickets for the FanFest bus to kind of cover the cost of the trip. Of the road trip, I mean, not like my whole bloody trip. That would be a bit unreasonable. You live in Seattle? Don't give you ideas? I'm giving you ideas. I'll give you ideas aplenty. Would love to do something like that. Yeah, that'd be mad fun, wouldn't it? Hey, Kyoka, thank you so much for 25 months. How are you? How are you feeling? How's everything coming along? Kinda hoping you get yourself to EU, you mean UK FanFest? Yeah, EU FanFest is cancelled, you guys. No more EU FanFest. I'm excited for that one, because I can get over to London from Oslo for like 40 bucks. Like, flights are so cheap getting over there, it's crazy. It's already like, from here to LA return, in, what is it, November? It's like 500 Australian return, which is like a third of the price of what that trip was costing me from Australia. Which is just like so good, so great. So I'm definitely gonna talk to some people leading up to FanFest and see if I can get some freelance gig to cover the trip, because that's what I did for Paris last year, beginning of last year. Man, I can't believe it was that recent. Yeah, Paris, the beginning of last year, I managed to convince Red Bull Gaming to get me to do a piece for them from FanFest, and the agreement was like, with that excuse, I managed to get Square Enix to cover the cost of the flights and the hotel and everything, because I was there representing Red Bull and I was creating content for them. So, you know, I was getting like a media pass. Whereas just like doing my own independent stuff, not quite enough eyeballs on it to sort of like justify that. Then I just did like some pro bono pieces for Red Bull covering the event. So I'm gonna try, I'll reach out to them and I'll reach out to a few more people. I'm gonna try to do something similar this time. And if I can get at least one of the trips covered that way, that would be really cool. Best case scenario, I'll be able to do it for both of them. That would be great. It's one advantage to, I guess, if you're like a smaller streamer, if you're not one of those like, you know, 1 million sub plus YouTube channels or like, you know, 2,000 sub point Twitch channels, where you're like big enough independently to justify things like media passes and shit. Like, it's really handy to be able to swing a little bit of freelancing to kind of get like 2 birds stoned at once, you know what I mean? It's really helpful. That's how I managed to get to the the media tour as well in London for Shadowbringers. It's because I was there repping fandom. At least I think. Was it fandom? I think it was fandom for that one. I'm pretty sure it was fandom for that one, yeah. Whereas like I would have been allowed to, like, I would have been invited to the media tour otherwise, but I would have had to like pay my own way, pay for my own flights and tickets and all of that, because Square Enix couldn't swing the budget for little old me quite that far, you know what I mean? Because I'm playing range physical correctly. Always move even, no, especially when it's not necessary. You gotta channel like that sort of like ADD energy, don't you, when you're playing ranged physical? It's very important. Where's Minfailure? Minfailure, look, I couldn't, like, not bring Y'shtola to this dungeon, alright? After everything that Y'shtola's been through to get us here, I can't just, like, leave her behind.
Together we shall overcome this.
I feel like that would be bullshit. There's some skills Thancred doesn't use if Reen isn't in the party. Really? Really? Does he only use like some rogue or ninja skills if she's in the party? Because we know from Dol Meg that he can still Shikuchi. Rain charges his cartridges. Oh! Oh, that is so interesting. That is so interesting. Hey, Steph, thank you very much for the bits. That's very generous. I appreciate that. Remind you of Moose editing the second lore book? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was, that's so cool. And that guy is an absolute treasure. Yeah, there's so many of those neat little touches here. Like, I'm sure Y'shtola's been giving us some dialogue throughout here. But I'm not gonna see it. Oh yeah, here we go. Design calls to remind the Rohnke legends of giants. Yeah, so this is about Lozadal. There you go. So Lozadal, we don't know whether it was the same Lozadal or Lozadal is just like a name for that type of golem. But we know that a or the Lozadal defeated and imprisoned the Great Serpent of Rohnke in the Jewel of the Protector, right? Which is something that's going to play into the Kitari quests. Yeah, we get a lot of kind of stuff like that. Guillotine, nice. I really like this weapon. Fuck, it's so cool, look at that. Man, all of the Ravel gear is so nice. We haven't got a an aiming drop yet. So I'm gonna have to come back in here in my own time. Several times. Alright, here we go. The headpieces. Oh, I love the headpieces, yes. So this guy, according to the Triad card, was formed by basically a number of beasts that were just kind of like standing close together. When the big goopy light got up in there, and that's why it's like it is. That's why it's all Cerberus-y. Yes. Because first time I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? Is this like an Allergan Chimera or a Voidsen or something? Well, no, I didn't think that actually. I had no thoughts about it really. Although, like, you can easily think that, right? Like, the only people we know to really make Chimeras were the Allergans. The Chimera that we see in Lakeland is because it escaped from the Crystal Tower. You tried calling me? Oh, sorry, love. I got my phone charging in the other room. How is Verk? Alright, let's do it. Let's get in there. Go on, Dad, Corid. Get him! Go get him! Oh, it is such a banger, isn't it? Man, Shogun is so outdone himself. He's really, really come into his own over the past 5 years. It was hours ago? Oh, I'm sorry. I might have been asleep. I may have been asleep. Man, the withdrawal is so, so bad. I don't know how many of you guys were here yesterday, but I mentioned then as well. I'm trying to come off my meds at the moment. Because I've run out of them. I had like a 3-month supply when I came to Norway. And I've run out, and I thought like, hey, this is probably as good a time as any to sort of see if I can do without him now, because I've been on a variably high dose of fluoxetine or similar stuff since I was 17. And every now and then it is good to, I guess, try and like break it. So, yeah, I'm very scattered at the moment. And I was trying to start like earlier this morning and it was really bad, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna nap for like an hour. So I did. I didn't even ask what it was about. Sorry, what was it about? Tell me. Oh! Yeah, I've actually been, since I moved here, I have been like bringing my dose down. So I was already on like low enough dose for it to be relatively safe for me to try and go cold turkey on.
I shall protect you.
But yeah, when your body's been dependent on something for like 10 years, not surprisingly, the withdrawal's pretty fucking awful. So, if I'm being very, very strange over the next couple of weeks, you guys will understand why. I hope. Yeah, his tail's a hanging snake, dude. That's how he can do the poison. Like I say, the light for this one just kind of like slapped into some kind of snake, tiger, baboon orgy. And they all got clumped up together. Hope I'm unhurt soon. Oh, I'll be fine. I'm just like a bit kind of, you know. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Yeah, it hit a zoo. Yeah, maybe that was it, you know? Maybe it was like a Ronkin menagerie, right? That's probably it. Well, it's a very stiff snake because the model is from Kerberos, right? From World of Darkness, so it's just a reskin. Like, the tail was not originally a snake. It isn't, like, separately animated. That's 3 Wardens trashed. Well, I mean, yeah. 3 or 7, depending on who you ask, I guess. Alright, I got chest wrap of aiming, which is awesome. Like, if we're gonna get one piece from here, let it at least be the chest piece, huh? Man, does not match that glove at all, though. That's gotta be said. Let's go back to this one for now. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well done, fam. And thus doth the night return. Not quite yet. Alright, and here's where things start to get a little bit hectic. Which chakrams are the ones that look like earrings? Titania? I mean, Titania's ones kind of look like earrings, I guess. I said 7 because this is 4 different animals kind of lumped into one Light Warden. At least 4, yeah. And here's where it starts to get spicy. So we have to assume that the Exarch, like, in formulating this plan, understood the mechanics of it. And understood that it's not some kind of, like, indomitable power that we have that allows us to do this. It's just because our soul is a lot denser than anyone else's. That it has capacity to kind of contain a lot more of this ether without, you know, shattering, becoming corrupted. It must have occurred to him that there was still, like, an upper limit to it, though, right?
The Light Warden is dead. The Blessed's prayers have been answered.
My guess is maybe he did calculate it, but he didn't realize what Vothri was. And that Vothri has become so much more bloated than any other Warden. Because of, you know, the meal consumption, right? And then that kind of pushes it over the edge. But the thing is, like, even here we begin to start struggling, right? And I just don't understand why he didn't anticipate that.
His condition yet troubleth thee?
It does. Though he shows no immediate signs of corruption, the danger remains. He must be told.
Yeah, no doy. Morning, Sickle.
Would you describe it to me, Marie-Ange? Paint for me a picture with your words.
Oh.
A sea of shimmering stars. Diamonds strewn across a raven gown. Boundless and beautiful. 'Tis an exquisite sight, not unlike that of the source. Calm and gentle and forgiving.
I can see it.
For however deep the void, or wide the expanse, there is no shore so distant as to be beyond the reach of light. Ominous though that may sound, given our present travails.
I love that little bump pat.
Well fought. Let us return home.
Oh shit, here we go. Well, unfortunately for Ranji, you stole his HR, I think.
The murals. If I am not mistaken, they predate the Empire.
Oh yeah, they do. Yes, they
How
do.
can you tell?
A peculiarity of the paint. Most are made from mineral-based pigments. But whatever was used here is older than anything I have ever seen. According to Emmet, this sanctuary was built to preserve the wisdom of the ancients. What events do these murals commemorate, I wonder?
Must you always linger after defeating your enemies? Navigating these halls on foot is exhausting.
Come to lead us to safety, have you?
I was bored. But how is the hero of the hour? Fighting fit, I see. Keep up the good work.
If it's not obvious, that's him kind of examining whether or not we're at capacity yet.
You're plotting something.
Every hour of every day. But never you mind about that. As I have told you 1,000 times before, I like to watch. Nothing more.
Whoop.
Well, I would quit this place and I suggest you do the same. There is yet work to be done. Ah, there is a sight to bring a tear to the eye.
You recognize these scenes?
That I do. Indeed, there was a time when anyone and everyone would. Until one calamitous day when the world was divided across 10 and 3 reflections, sundering the land and all who dwelled upon it. And the worst part? No one could remember it. Not really. Just fragments and fleeting memories of an achingly familiar world. A vision shared of a paradise lost, preserved only in song and scripture and paint. Once upon a time. Yet here we find ourselves again, to look, learn, and remember.
Then share with us the stories you know so well. We are listening.
Before the Great Sundering, there was one world. A world that knew naught but peace and prosperity.
Bullshit!
Until it was faced with a crisis. Unprecedented, terrifying. Civilization found itself perched upon a precipice, staring into oblivion. But through prayer and sacrifice, the will of the star was made manifest. Zodiac was his name, and by his grace was the calamity averted.
Zodiac.
A savior mighty and magnificent, deserving of reverence and gratitude. One would have thought, yet some thought otherwise. From the fears of these naysayers would rise Hydaelyn, she who was to serve as his shackles, to bind him and hold him in check. And so they fought, and they fought, and they fought, and in the end, Hydaelyn was victorious. With all her strength, she smote him, dealing a blow so devastating that it split the very fabric of reality. And thus was Zodiark banished and his being divided. That concludes today's lesson on long-forgotten history. Though I imagine your mother would offer a rather contradictory account, as is her wont.
I'm sorry, I can only assume I misheard. But it sounded an awful lot like you were implying both Zodiark and Hydaelyn are not gods. But...
What? Not gods of the first? Is that what you thought these paintings depicted? Or... Oh. Oh. They are gods after a fashion, yes. But no different from the kind with which you are so intimately acquainted. Formed of faith and prayer, of conviction and devotion. The eldest and most powerful of primals.
You have spun quite a tale. Yet you have not explained the role of the Ascians in all of this. How is it you are privy to ancient secrets lost to time?
Finally you ask the right question. And shrewd questions warrant honest answers. We Ascians know because it is our history, our story. It was we who summoned Zodiark, we natives of that sundered paradise. Now, do you see why we yearn for the great rejoining? For our world, for our people, for all creation to be made whole again. Wouldn't you wish for the same?
Looking at the insignia on his back here, we're reminded once again that the Garlean flag is and has been all along a representation of the rejoining, of shards rejoining into a whole. Look at that. It's been right in front of us the whole time. Yeah. That's right. Yes, Emmet does tell us that they're tempered, yes. What do you guys think? No, you wouldn't, would you? That would make what, Thancred? Question is, who was he in relation to the Allegans? Well, he wasn't Xande or Aemon. I think he was taking a less active role with Alleg. And I think that's why Alleg was less efficient than Garlemald. Like, yeah, Alleg brought about a calamity, but only after 1,000 years of, you know, prosperity and relative peace and decadence, right? Seems Alec kind of got out of hand. When they made ARR, they had a 10-year plan? Yes, they did. How learned is Thancred in Etherology? Well, he's an Archon. Like, he graduated from the studio. So, he didn't, like, he didn't major in it, but he's still got to have a much, much stronger knowledge in it than the layman. Yeah, he may be cyber, he may be. Well, I mean, you definitely do feel sympathy for Emmet at this point, but he's still a slimy prick, alright? He's still a disgusting creep, and you can't convince me otherwise. Hey, Tiny Cats, what's up, you son of a bitch? Thank you so much for 3 months, my dude. That was an enlightening experience, though not in the way I had hoped. You suppose there is any truth in Emet-Selch's claims? Well, I mean, we've all seen it. Everyone with the Echo, we've all seen it. We've all seen the final days of Amarot in our visions. That star shower. Well, Ninzard, we kind of demonstrate that in Amarot. That maybe summoning Zodiac wasn't the only way to avert it. And I suspect, and I suspect we'll find out, that the Amaratines were probably responsible for that apocalypse in the first place. At least partially. The recent events plainly warrant further discussion. I think it best that we wait until Alphino and the others are present. Emet-Selch included. How convenient that he should choose this moment to keep to the shadows. Well, no matter. For the present, we should return to Fanov and make certain of the Yule Morn's withdrawal. After that, Slitherbow. The Blessed are no doubt elated by what has become of the sky. Hyden was involved in sealing Ultima the High Seraph. Yeah, as far as we know, Ultima was sealed by Hydaelyn and then released by Azura Glabados to destroy Molond. Again, the prevailing theory, at least by the Sharlayans, is that Alec had some communication, some contact with Ultima, and presumably after that, around that, before that, we don't really know when, but Ultima was sealed away in another shard by Hydaelyn, and my guess is that it may have been the 13th. May have sealed Ultima away in the 13th to kind of keep it as far away from the source as possible. And that subsequently Ultima created the Aura Site in the 13th that destroyed it. And then was later summoned back to the source by Azura Glabados. Controlled Ivalice for 1,000 years, and then Ramza Biolv sealed her again in Molond. Alright, Almet. Oh no, Emmet's dead as dicks. He's donezo, he is gone. You're returned, and unharmed, I see. Indeed. I'm pleased to report that the Light Warden is no more, thanks to large in part to you. that the death of a single Singing Eater makes such a difference. As our numbers waned, so too did our hope that the ruins we have devoted our lives to guarding would ever find purpose. Yet here you are, the allies for whom we have waited these many centuries, and with your arrival came the chance to pass on our legacy, the ancient wisdom of the Empire. That alone would have been reward enough. Never did we imagine it would serve to banish the light that pervaded these woods. On behalf of the Vis, our forebears, and the late Emperor of Rohnke, you have our deepest thanks. It is we who should be thanking you. Our journey through the Katana Ravel proved most enlightening. To be privy to such knowledge is an honor, one for which we never hoped. Please, you need not be so humble. We but do our duty as decreed by the late Emperor. Would that he were still with us to express his gratitude in person. But sister, does this not mean our duty is fulfilled? To our allies, perhaps, but the ruins cannot be left unguarded. So long as we live here in the woods, the secrets of Rohnke must not fall into the wrong hands. Is Vrinar still here? No, we escorted him back to Slitherbough shortly after you set out. If you had returned to the Knights Blessed, we would not keep you any longer. I suspect they would be glad of your company. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of sound a bit like Genova Ninzard. It also sounds like Lavos from Chrono Trigger. And you know what? It could literally be like either one of those. Wouldn't that be interesting? Thank you, Emmet. I look forward to a day when we might share a more leisurely visit to the ruins of Rohnke. We will await your return then. Final Fantasy VI had the planet crying out as well. Yeah, it's a pretty common theme. I suspect that it's going to be related to the presence beneath Silvertier from 1.0. That it's still down there somehow in some capacity. Either that or the presence beneath Silvertier was just Heidelin herself. Moran looking flying during the stream? Nope. No, not actively. I'm not doing the side quest for flying because I would quite like to come back and record the major side quest chains in each of the zones. Because they're really good. Like the ones in here in particular are really, really good. The one, the Knights Blessed, and the kind of remnants of the priesthood that protected Tusi-Mektar and the Great Serpent. Yeah, there's some really good stuff in there. Well, quest chain, yeah. Thought the presence was just Midgard's armor. May have been. It was never really explained.
You returned, and none the worse for wear, I see.
You needn't worry about us. What became of the Umoran soldiers, more importantly?
They turned tail and fled at the sight of the night sky. The children of the everlasting dark have also retreated back to Woven Oath. Try as they might, they could not deny the truth of their own eyes. The sunless sea of heaven, full of love and grace, where none need know pain or suffering. In that moment, when the sky's light began to wane, I knew our prayers had been answered.
It's day? Well, Runar doesn't know that. For all he knows, the night sky is, you know, bright blue and just slightly less bright than, you know, the flood of light. Right?
That we were doomed to face oblivion at life's end no longer.
When the sun actually sets, he's gonna be like, oh shit! I thought it was already night. Damn!
When first we met, I harbored certain suspicions about you. Now I see that I was right. You are the bringers of shadow, the warriors of darkness, the saviors for whom we have prayed for so long.
I suppose you're not entirely wrong, but we are not worthy of your reverence, nor have we any desire to be worshipped. If you would pray, pray for your children, that they may one day know a better world.
I will do as you say, but please, let us at least hold a feast to celebrate your victory. You deserve that much.
I'm sorry, Runar, but there is still much to be done and scant time in which to do it. We must go. All of us. For we share the same path and the same fate.
So be it. I ask only that you hold us in your hearts, as we will hold you in ours. Now, and ever after. By the boundless dark. This I swear.
Razash, you're 100% correct about that, but even as a lore boy, I know that you can't let the truth get in the way of a good bit, all right? Never let your memes be dreams. There could be elves that were alive before the flood that are still alive. Like, maybe one or two, you know? There's plenty of Vis that are still alive from before. Like, most of the Vis in Fanov are older than 100. As for elves and Elezen, we know they live to about 100, like, in the extreme. They tend to live for a couple of decades more than Fjord or Humes, because they have a prolonged adolescence. But they're not like Tolkien elves, you know? Though it pains me to leave, it is time I returned with you and the others to the Crystarium. But before we go, might I speak with you in private? I will await you in my chambers. Jealous, Runar? You jealous, bruh? Why are Keepers of the Moon so disliked by other races in lore? Are they? I never really got that impression. I know Duskwights are very disliked. Thank you for coming. I thought to keep my suspicions to myself, but after witnessing your victory at Rak'tika Falls, I fear they proved true, so I must share them with you. From the first, when we met at Fort Gon, your ether has appeared tainted, suffused with an overabundance of light, not unlike the Sin Eaters. When you defeated the Light Warden, I fear the light which poured forth from it was not negated by Hydaelyn's blessing. Rather, it was absorbed into your being. Ranji also suspects as much, though he is unwilling to share his thoughts on the matter. One thing is certain, with every warden you defeat, the danger to you grows greater. Greater perhaps than we can imagine. You begin to feel anything strange, anything at all, rain for me at once. You start, Rianche's not telling anyone because it's part of his prank. It's part of his elaborate prank that you're undermining here. You should hurry before the others begin to worry. Once I've sorted my things here, I will join you. Man, you're such a buzzkill, Y'shtola. Just let him have this. Historically to do with pitching and Tarpers League? Oh, poaching and the trappers. Yes. And it's kind of the same for, well, for the Duskwire, it's because they were never accepted by the elementals. So they've never been able to join polite society in the 12s. Although, so it started with the Duskwire. The animosity started because there were those that left Gelmora when the elementals created the first Pajal, right? And invited them to live in the wood under these conditions. Like a good sort of 80 or 90% of Gelmora's population abandoned the city and founded Gridania. And the ones that stayed behind were like, what the hell? These elementals have been like killing us and forcing us down here for 1,000 years. Like, they can go fuck themselves. We're not going anywhere. And they were super, super salty at everyone that left because Gelmoran society could not sustain itself, and it just kind of collapsed because, you know, they, like 90% of their population pieced out. So the ones that stayed behind were forced to basically, you know, abandon their civilization, go effectively wild, and resort to, you know, poaching and banditry and stuff like that in order to survive. The Mooncats are kind of like tied up in that, but it's like nowhere near to the same degree as the Duskwire. My main is a Duskwire. Yeah. Barbecues, of course I'm worried. We took one last patrol of the perimeter, all things considered, so the bow remains relatively unscathed. Thanks to the antidote, all those who were poisoned will make a full recovery. And with the night sky return, their prayers have at last been answered. I don't know what new areas we're going to see in 5.2. I mean, in 5.25, we're going to see all that Bozja stuff. Sorry to keep you all waiting. Shall we be off then? Art thou certain this is best? I'll not deny there is a part of me that wishes I could stay. For 2 years I have lived with the Blessed, learned their culture, even going so far as to adopt Master Matoya's name as my own. I but pray I did honor to it. I wonder what she was doing in the year before she settled here. Now is not the time for doubt or hesitation. Come, we must return to the Crystarium. Yeah, basically Pharmacues. I mean, it doesn't prove, but it certainly makes it far less likely. So now I reckon, the Allagans were just throwing out all the Lalafels when they were going through their cloning experiments. Whenever they produced a Lalafel from them, they were like, ah shit, that one's a dud. Alright, get rid of that one. Damn it, it's another Lalafel, we don't need that. People believe that? Yeah, there's goop in the pools in Azizlar that basically serves as evidence. that Lalafels were being created by Alec. And we had suspicions that maybe that was the origins of the Lalafell. All things considered, it is hardly surprising that Alphino and Alizé have yet to arrive. But where is the Exarch? My friends! It is good to see you all again. A Tombrayer's Lalafell? Yeah, most of them, as far as we know. Nim was mostly Lalafellan. Alphino, it's been too long. I assume your presence here means you've brought words of the Warden hiding in Rak'tika. Yeah, you could say that. Found and slain, you say? I should have known. Yulmore has but recently dispatched soldiers to all corners of Novrant to defend them. I'm glad to see their efforts were wasted on the Great Wood. Speaking of Yulmore, what came of your meeting with Vothri? Yes, about that. Proved to be... Exarch, you mustn't push yourself. Your time away from the tower has clearly taken its toll. No doubt you're all tired as well, having travelled so far. Why don't we all take a much-needed rest before we discuss our findings? I thought to propose the very same. After your clash with the Warden, you deserve a chance to recuperate. It's settled then. We reconvene after everyone has had time to settle in. Wait, who isn't an Archon? I'm pretty sure Grahatir is an Archon. He's got... Does he have the Archon tattoo, or has he just got the Circle of Knowing? Grahatir. I need to look up a picture of him now. He's got the Circle of Knowing tattoo on his shoulder, and he's got the Archon tattoo on his neck. He is an Archon. Yeah, he is an Archon. He's actually got the tattoo on both sides of his neck. Yes. So, either he's just very proud of being an Archon, or maybe he's a double Archon. You know, maybe he's got 2 PhDs. No, SB, I know you're wrong about that. No, Archon is a title. It's basically the Charlene PhD. What you're thinking of is the Circle of Knowing. The Circle of Knowing is the Charlenes that after the Exodus from Dravania opposed the non-interference policy of Charlene. And wanted to help Eorzea against Garlemald. Wanted to actually participate in history. And that Circle of Knowing tattoo, the other one that you see on all of the Scions, you do see on other Charlenes. Rambros has it, and so does Grahatir. So the Scions were formed by the pairing of the Path of the 12, which was Minfilia's organization, Minfilia's X-Men, where she was bringing together people that had the Echo and basically studying it, considering it a blessing of the 12. They had not yet discovered Hydaelyn, and members of the Circle of Knowing. They formed the Scions together after the Calamity. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn. For the purpose of ending the Seventh Umbral era, bringing in the Seventh Dawn, that's what it's all about. Yeah. But, yeah, so all the Charlenes in the Scions are members of the Circle of Knowing. They're not all Archons. Alphino and Alizé are not Archons. They're graduates of the Studium, but they don't have that PhD equivalent, basically. And there are members of the Circle of Knowing who are not part of the Scions. Yeah. But Graha Tia, he's not a Scion, but wasn't a Scion, I should say, but he was an Archon and he was a member of the Circle of Knowing. So there you go. They don't know Graha because they just never talked to him. No. No, it seems like, again, because the Scions were all in, most of them, as far as we know anyway, were in Dravania until the Exodus, and then they were in Sharlayan proper, whereas the students of Baldesion were hanging out on the Isle of Val, mostly. So the only one that worked with Graha and like knew him personally was Krile. It's possible that like he might have met the other ones in passing, but not to the point where they sort of recognized him. But Graha was an admirer and a follower of Louis Soir as well.
So there's a light sealed inside you, is there? You wouldn't know it from the outside. You look the same as you ever did to me.
Must stay the course for the others.
True enough. Packing up and going home isn't really an option, is it? If you don't face the music here, it'll only come and find you there. Think he was telling the truth? Emmet, I mean. All that rot about Hydaelyn being no different from any other primal. If so, what would that make her blessing? Are we just slaves to her will?
Nah, dog. Nah. She ain't about that.
Let's pay him no mind. Lies the Ascians stock in trade. Villains, heroes, all a matter of perspective, they'd have you believe. One man's fond memory, another's waking nightmare. Me, I'm no saint or savior. Just another sinner. And I know damn well I'm in no position to judge. When I saw the people of Slitherbough look up at the sky and celebrate the return of the dark, felt good. It was moments like that I cherished. Much more than the thrill of adventure. The quiet after the storm. I always took comfort in that.
So what Albert is saying is that his favorite part of the game is the patch lulls. The lulls where he could go and do some crafting. Alright, Albert, fair enough.